Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Sydney from PhoneDog.com, and this is the T-Mobile Comet. It's a low-end Android device with some pretty basic specs. It has a 2.8-inch touchscreen display, a 3-megapixel camera. It also ships with Swype, and it has a 528 MHz processor, if you can imagine that. So is it worth getting? It's free, but is it still worth looking at since there are some other low-end options on T-Mobile? Well, that's what we're going to discuss in the review of the T-Mobile Comet from T-Mobile, obviously. I'm Sydney from PhoneDog.com. Let's go check it out. So this is the T-Mobile Comet, and it's a pretty small device. You know, just starting off with the physical design, it's only about 4 inches by 2 inches. So definitely a small design, and then it's about ½ an inch thick. And then this screen here is only 2.8 inches. So overall, everything about it is pretty small, very handheld, which translates into, you know, again, the screen being small. So, you know, web browsing, and then the keyboard is just tiny on it. But, you know, it's still a very solid device, still feels pretty sturdy. Then you have your standard Android buttons, back, menu, home, and then search. These two buttons are, you know, obviously for talk, send, and then end. The power button is up here. And then this is sort of like a D-pad. The silver part is you use for navigating, so it's right, left, up, and then down. And then the center button is the selection button. So it kind of took me a while to figure that out, but anyway, that's how it works. And then you do have a camera on the back. So this is sort of, you know, a weird design because it takes up a pretty large part of the phone itself. You know, don't really know if it's entirely necessary because it is a touchscreen, and it's a capacitive touchscreen, and it's pretty good. So, you know, I don't really think you need this, and it would have been nice to have a larger display. But again, it may come in handy just because it is so small. Maybe for selecting certain things, it may be easier to have the D-pad, but for me, you know, it wasn't really necessary. So back to the main display, again, it's a 2.8-inch capacitive touchscreen display, pretty basic. It has a resolution of 240 by 300, so, you know, really nothing special. And whenever you get pretty close to the display, you can see that the text is kind of pixelated. We'll go to the menu. You can see more of it. So it's not very smooth, a little rough around the edges, the pictures, you know, not the best quality. That might not be a big deal to you, you know, if you're looking for something that, you know, has an amazing display and looks great. You know, obviously the Comet is a low-end device, and so the resolution isn't very impressive. It supports up to 262,000 colors. So it's okay, you know, not the best, but again, it's a low-end device. So it ships with Android 2.2, which means you have your 6 home screens here, actually 5 home screens, and then you have the dock at the bottom for your phone, web browsing, and then the menu. You know, overall, speeds are okay on the device. It has a 528 MHz Qualcomm processor, so, you know, definitely it's not the zippiest thing. But I didn't really notice too much of a lag when just doing basic things like scrolling through the home screens, going to the menu, going to different apps. Whenever I'm in an app, you know, it performs pretty well, so it's not too bad. There wasn't a lot of lag. You can see it took, you know, a couple extra seconds to load. But one thing when it did become a problem, the speed, was if I had multiple applications open. So if I went to the web browser, and then while I was browsing, I decided to go to movies or maybe Twidroid, or, you know, do something else. Whenever I had multiple applications running, that's when the speed really became a problem. And so if you're going to get this device, I would recommend downloading some sort of task manager. So you can see I've downloaded Advanced Task Killer. It's a free app in the market, but it will help you to better manage the apps that are open so that speeds will probably be better. So, you know, I have all of these open. I can just kill them all, and it will definitely improve the speed of the device. So, you know, again, it wasn't too bad, but whenever I was doing several things at one time, that's when it really started slowing down and started becoming a problem. But really, you know, I was pretty impressed compared to other low-end devices that have the 500 megahertz or the 600 megahertz processor. It was better than what I've seen from those. So if we go to the web browser, it does support Wi-Fi and also 3G. And if we type in a site, you'll notice that it comes pre-installed with Swype, which is really nice because you know, because the screen is so small, the keyboard is just tiny. So if I were to go to the, you can also use just the default Android keyboard, but you can see it's pretty tiny. And then again, you can see more of the speed there. There's a little bit of a lag, but it's really not as bad as you would think it would be. But it is going to take just about 1 extra second to get to it. Anyway, so you can see the keyboard is just tiny, and trying to type on it, you know, is going to be very difficult. It seems like the keyboard itself isn't too small, but whenever you get to the actual keys themselves and pressing them, it is pretty small. So it's nice that it comes with Swype. So if you have larger hands, or maybe it's just more comfortable, you can use that. .com. So we'll go to PhoneDog. I don't believe I'm on Wi-Fi right now, so this won't be a really a speed test. But speeds again are going to just depend on coverage in your area. And where I'm at right now filming this, I have not very good coverage for T-Mobile, so it may take a little longer. But we'll go to the web browser, we'll load up a page, and then I'll show you the zoom. Now it does have a capacitive touchscreen, like I said, but it doesn't support multi-touch. So if we go down here, if you want to zoom in, you can't really use multi-touch. So you have to use the zoom bar that's given to you. And then again, when you do more web browsing, you'll notice the low resolution on the screen. So the text again is sort of pixelated, and then the pictures are just kind of rough. So again, not a big deal, but you'll notice it more the more text there is on a page. So you can just use the zoom bar to zoom in and out. You know, not too big of a deal. And then you can use this, which here is where it comes in pretty handy. Still not entirely necessary, but it is there if you want to use it. So we'll take a look at the camera. It has a 3.2 megapixel camera. Nothing really special in terms of specs. This is not a flash, it's just the speaker grill. It looks like a flash, but it's misleading. So it's a 3.2 megapixel camera. So picture quality was pretty standard, nothing very impressive, but it was good enough for, you know, basic snapshots. It does come pre-installed with a 2 gig microSD card underneath the battery cover here. You can see it's right there, and it supports up to 32 gigs. Along with that, in terms of media, the phone also has a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. If I can get the battery cover back on, we'll take a look at that. Right there. And then interestingly, the phone also comes with an FM radio, sort of this cool FM radio widget that you can use. You have to have the headphones connected in order to have an antenna signal, but pretty cool that it comes pre-installed with that. So we'll go to the menu and just take a look at a couple of more pre-installed apps. You can see some of these that I've downloaded, but you also get documents to go, camera, calculator, calendar, standard Android apps. There's the FM radio, Facebook, Google search. It does have Google search, not Bing. Latitude, messaging, music, navigation, my device. Other than that, it's stock Android with the basic Android widgets plus any ones that you'd like to download. So you can see a couple that I've already downloaded, but you have Facebook, Google, home screen tips. And then it does come with, you can see this is one of the wallpapers that it comes with. So it comes with a few of its own custom wallpapers, and then you have a couple of live wallpapers. Again, because of the processor speed, I wouldn't recommend using one of these live wallpapers because it will probably greatly slow down the speed of the device and the performance of the device, but you do have the live wallpapers. So that's pretty much it, guys. It's the T-Mobile Comet, and all in all, it's a pretty standard basic device. I didn't have too many complaints in terms of speed, although you are going to have to watch, you know, how many programs you have open. You know, there's certain things that you're going to have to watch, and then there will be a slight delay, but nothing major, nothing too bad. And then everything else was pretty basic in terms of the display resolution and the camera. But for being free, it's not bad, although I believe on T-Mobile there are better options than the Comet that are also free, if not like maybe $50. So you may want to look at other options, but if you're set on the Comet, then I think you'll be satisfied enough with it. But again, like I said, I believe that T-Mobile has maybe some better options for a little bit more money. But it's T-Mobile Comet. Again, it's free right now from T-Mobile. It was $10 when it was officially released, but they've taken it down to free right now. So that may change again. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Be sure and check it out at your local T-Mobile store if you want to get more hands-on with it. Also, check out PhoneDog.com for more news, updates, and reviews. Right now, we're giving away up to 100 iPads as well as 2 tickets to the 2011 Super Bowl. So check out our Facebook page for more information on that. You can enter up to 6 times, I believe, which is crazy. So it's Facebook.com/PhoneDog. You can follow me on Twitter if you would like, Twitter.com/itsmyjobtoknow. It's my screen name. And you can ask any questions. I'll try my best to answer them. But anyway, thanks so much, guys, for watching. I'm Sydney from PhoneDog.com, and I'll see you guys later.